in 1886, the Babbitt brothers, they were all looking all over the United States for ranches. And that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to be in the cattle business. And they were very clear about that. And so they did everything they could to research, to talk to people, to, you know, investigate, be on the train, be on horseback, sleep outside for nights on the end and stuff, trying to find the right place to have a ranch. And in 1886, they got off the train in Flagstaff, Arizona, and it quickly became evident this was where their home was going to be. The story I want to tell you, though, isn't just about that. Well, the story I want to tell you is this. So they want to be in a ranching business, but to do that, they have to own cattle. And they got to have a ranch. They didn't have either one of those. But what happened was the horse before the cart before the horse, they ended up buying cattle before they had the land. So they kind of had themselves in a fix. So they needed to find a ranch. They had the cattle, but not the land. So they worked themselves around Flagstaff and found a fella. And anyway, his name was Jack Smith. And he said, well, you know what? I have some water for you guys in the ranch land. It'll work really good. But they had to go look at it. So they got on horseback, because in those days there were no roads yet. So they're all on horseback in Flagstaff. They rode their horses about to 10,000 foot on the side of the San Francisco peaks. Now this was probably the first week of May. So you can look up there now and it looks cold, right? I mean, think about it being at the end of winter and the beginning of spring and stuff. It could be cold up there. And my guess is they probably rode through some snow. I really don't know that part of the story, but I know it was that first week of May. And they go up there and these guys see the land and they see the water and they're like, hey, we just got ourselves a ranch. We got the cattle, we're good to go. But here's the story. So it got dark while they were up there, a long ways away from Flagstaff on horseback, and they knew they weren't going to be able to make it back that night in the dark. So what these guys did is bedded down, which they were used to, and they were handy enough to survive that kind of deal. Put their bedrolls out, did their thing and stuff like that. Well, the morning comes, and these guys wake up, and they're really, really cold. And so anyway, all they need to do is make a fire. Well, as it goes, they look around amongst the 3 or 4 of them that were there, and who's got matches? So anyway, on the table, you guys see there's a match there. You can hold it, you can play with it, put it in your teeth. But you got a match on your table. So anyway, they go around it, and guess what? They have 3 matches amongst themselves, and David Babbitt's the only one with them. Now the one guy they're with is like this pioneer mountain man guy, Jack Smith. He's kind of a gritty guy. He's been in Flagstaff. It's just like you might figure somebody that just lives out in the woods in the 1880s would be like. He says to David Babbitt, who's kind of more city slicker guy just out of Cincinnati, Ohio with his brother Billy, and he says, maybe I should light the fire. So David Babbitt, seemingly, thinking it through, yeah, that's probably a good thing. I'll let him light it. So he hands him a match. And he takes the match. Jack Smith goes down and he goes to light that fire. And guess what happens? The match goes out. So they have 2 matches left. And so, no problem. Jack Smith says, here, let me have that other match and we'll be good to go. He grabs that match from David Babbitt, willingly saying, yeah, go ahead and light it. Goes down and he strikes that match. What is really something else is that match went out also. They're left with 1 match. And these guys are really, really, really cold. And they want to get warmed up and have some coffee and feel a little bit better about things before they head back to Flagstaff. So they got the 1 match left. And Jack Smith says, well, I guess we've got 1 match left, I'll light it, stuff like that. David Babbitt goes down to hand him the match. And he stops. And he says, you know what? I'm going to light this match. And anyway, so David Babbitt goes down, he lights the match, and he torches the fire. And the fire goes up, and they get going. Now, he had such a responsibility with that, such an accountability that went along with that. This dude owned it. This dude's like, you know what? If we're going to make this happen, it's going to happen because I'm going to do it. And I'm going to be responsible for whatever happens. If it goes out, it's on me. If this thing torches, I'm going to let it rip. And me and my brother and my other brothers, we're going to go down to Flagstaff and we're going to let it happen. And we're going to be involved. And we're going to get in the middle of things. We're going to live with some uncertainty. We're going to live with the responsibility and accountability that goes with all of that. And anyway, and that's exactly what they did. You look around here and you say, hey, why are we all here? Every single person in this room has had that match in their hand. Every single one of us here. And we've made that decision somewhere along in our lives to light it and let that match rip. And anyway, that's why we're here today.